Hi, Patrick here. Welcome to day 15 of the 31 days of Halloween. That's right. Me and the cheater, we're still working it. That's right. And today's film we'll be talking about will be from 2022, and it will be Breakup Mountain. That was written and directed by Leone. We know Joe from earlier before where we interviewed him and reviewed his film Reap. This movie is a very, very small movie in the fact that it only has 4 characters. Joe Leone plays Ben. Young Italian actress Jade Haley, in her feature film debut, plays Yasmina. Vincent Kevin Daniels plays Jeremy. And the very beautiful and exotic Asel Otunchieva plays Kira. Me and the cheetah, we had a chance to interview both Joe and Asel about their roles in the movie. That interview is up and running. Now we are here to do the review for Breakup Mountain, which you can get from Bayview Entertainment. It says here, the synopsis reads, an embittered couple goes to a cabin with the intention of finally breaking up, yet soon is thrust into a deadly situation. All right, so this is an interesting movie, really interesting. Yasmina and Ben are a good-looking couple. They're a good-looking couple. He's tall, dark, and handsome. She's blonde. She's very, very pretty, and she's sassy as hell. On paper, you think this is a match made in heaven, where in effect this is a match that maybe initially was made in heaven, but now firmly resides in hell. So Joe and Yasmina just can't quit each other. They hate each other, but they can't quit each other. Yasmina has goals and ambition, and Joe is more sort of lost, still trying to find his way. And so they bitterly fight, and they fight a lot. And the thing is, so they do fight, and then they come back, and then they make up, and it goes, the cycle continues. So it's not a healthy relationship in any stretch of the imagination, and Yasmina knows this. She knows this. She's finally had enough. She's actually going to break out. So she's like, you know what, I'm done with this. So, but they also know, too, that they have a really bad habit of coming back. So Ben makes a suggestion. He says, I'm going to book a cabin. We're going to go out for 3 days, and then we're just going to basically hate on each other so much that by the end of the 3rd day, we'll never want to see each other again. And whilst that's really I think a normal person would have said, I don't need to do that to walk out of here and not look back. But due to their history, Yasmina, she has to agree with that. So they go ahead and they go to this cabin, this small cabin, an Airbnb, and initially they're dogfighting. They are dogfighting, but then they start talking. They each pick on each other's weaknesses, and there are several on both sides, by the way. But they also realize too. That they, that maybe they can somehow, some way, and this could be just a fantasy on both their parts, but maybe some way, somehow, they can still stay friends. But then you get a montage, and you see that ain't going to happen. 1 minute is great, the next minute is, War of the Roses. It is not a good relationship at all. So they go ahead and they try to get along. But we see that Joe, Ben, is up to some shenanigans. For one thing, he brings a little bit of cocaine with him, and he knows Yasmina is, she's more up to doing some blow. And of course, once she does that, all of a sudden now her job is compromised, because now she works at a firm where they do random drug tests, and now she's sort of screwed. But he doesn't blackmail her or anything like that. He just points out that if your job does come a knocking. So eventually they have a brief passionate moment, and and things are they're starting to look at least civilized for the next 2 days. But then they get a knock on the door and they meet a stranger named Jeremy, and his car is broken down the road, and he needs a little bit of help. And so they let him come in and make a phone call for some help. But then all of a sudden we start noticing Jeremy is quietly menacing, and he is not who he seems to be. And so while Ben and Yasmina are thinking about how do we get rid of this, how do we handle this, because Jeremy ain't leaving. This is not going to be good, and especially not going to be good when the door knocks again, and in comes Kira, who also happens to be Yasmina's best friend. And Ben obviously is not expecting to see Kira. And when Yasmina tells Ben this side of the story, things get really crazy really, really fast. I can't go any further than that because I don't want to give it away, of course, no spoilers. But needless to say, it's a very dark and twisted ride, sprinkled with a lot of humor. All four leads are super strong. Jade Haley was her first feature, super strong actress. This is my first time watching Asel. I commented just before that Joe Leone has a really sharp eye for casting. If he wasn't a screenwriter and a director, he definitely could be a casting director because he is really good at it. As far as the directors casting their own projects go, he definitely is in the top 5. I see two potential, if she pursues it, if Jade Haley pursues it, I could see a bright future for her. I already see that bright future for Asel Otunchieva. I'm sorry if I'm killing that, Asel. Please forgive me. She has a very bright future. She's absolutely gorgeous. She is. She could play any role. Wow. She's cool as hell. Joe playing Ben. He mentioned during the interview that this is somewhat semi-autobiographical. So some of the story, yeah, some of it stories, no. So what part do you think is? I don't know. I can't tell you. But this was a fun movie. The only problem I had with it, and we talked about this during our interview, was I didn't really particularly go for the score too much. I thought the score was just a little bit too jarring for the film. I know there's different songs in there with different lyrics, and I know it helps trying to set a tone, but it sort of worked against the film a little bit. The last 10 minutes of the film score is excellent. It definitely puts a spin on the movie. It takes it where it needs to go. And I really like the last 10 minutes of the film's score. The first half, that's the only part that just sort of lost me a little bit. I liked it that there's a lot of dark comedy in here, and there's a lot of witty lines, and there's a lot of relationship problems in this film. I'm sure a lot of people will be watching this and seeing themselves on the screen, and that might make them a little uncomfortable, but hopefully it makes them uncomfortable enough to take their loved ones aside and sit there and say, listen, we need to talk. I would make Breakup Mountain as a rated R for language and for violence. So yes, it is a little bit, it's a little, like I said, it's a little dark, but it works. And Bayview Entertainment will has this movie on sale. You can pick it up at Bayview Entertainment. I'll leave the description down below. I'll also leave the interview down that we did with Joe and Asel. You can check that out as well as the first interview we did with Joe and as well as that. So you can get 2 interviews, and and a film review, and where to buy the movie all at once. Well, thanks so much for watching. We will be back with another 31 Days of Halloween. I don't know what we're watching yet, but I promise you it'll be spooky. Peace.